Ok, Google, flexo color verde. Hello, Yash.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm doing great. That's good to be great because you are great, but outside your house is very dark.
Yeah,
Totally.
it's nighttime here. It is 10:30 p.m. here in India, and
So
just wanted.
here is also pretty dark in Spain. We totally dark. It's 6 p.m. It's totally dark. From 1 hour ago, it's almost totally dark. And yes, so we are coming back again for another training session for the Liquid Galaxy project in collaboration with many other groups like the Flutter JADA, Google Developers Group JADA, and also for maybe in the future applying to the Google Summer of Code. So again, in the very beginning, always, thank you very much, Mentor Yash, for staying with us and trying the community. And I'm going to leave the stage for you for your presentation, okay?
Thank you. Yeah,
You can
and
go ahead.
just welcome. Thanks. So I just wanted to say welcome everyone. This presentation, or I would say this training session, will be about something different. It will be catering around user experience or UX, particularly in developing your apps. Could be your Java or Kotlin apps, or we would say we praise more for the Flutter apps. And this would just be around the things that are very much needed when you are developing an app, which is the how the user will feel about it. What is the journey for the user? What is the storytelling, or how convincing it is for the user to use your application? And with which I just wanted to say that I'm a UX lead developer at CybTekk, which is a company founded by one of the mentors of Liquid Galaxy only. And it is a very good, I would say, community where I get to know about the user experience. And I'm also in, say, sort of learning as well as training phase where I'm helping others to learn and grow in user experience. Plus, I'm also learning every day. So a bit of it I would just be explaining around the projects that you might be getting in future, and it will be very helpful for your Google Summer of Code 2024. So I would say have a very close look at it. So the very first slide is about some general ideas that we would want to know about user experience. Firstly, that we should be having some innovative solutions. Let's say we got a project that is a project idea for, let's say, 350 hours, and we need to also think about how good will be the user experience of that particular, I would say, project or idea developed into an app. And with user experience comes something called accessibility. I would be just, I would say, just giving a brief about accessibility here, but later on we'll be diving a lot into it. Accessibility is basically to cater the special needs of some people, which can even include the people which have some sort of disabilities, maybe some sort of partial or total hearing loss, some sort of disabilities in, like, say, partial or total blindness, and some sort of disabilities which might be needing some features or some extra things that you can make into your app, that would be useful not just for them but for everyone. And I will be giving very good examples about it. And I just wanted to mention, this is very important, which is the GSOC timeline. Anything you have to develop, even user experience, first thing is you make it work. So you have to just make your project work first of all. Then you can just start upon making it pretty, which can improve its UI, some sort of user experience as well. And finally, you can just do the optimizations. With which I want to say that the GSOC timeline is something we strictly follow, and we would not want to extend it or some sort of show some relaxation to it. We would just want that you strictly follow that timeline, and anything that you build, some sort of user experience that you provide, it should be done in that very same timeline. So first focus on completion of the necessary features, then focus on UX. This would be strictly my point. And look for projects that have been already published on a GitHub page, and which can include some of the various projects like the Smart City Dashboard by Prayag, or let's say there were many others that were like really good. And you would just love to see how sort of user experience features that have been given, like color contrast, that have been taken care of, font sizes, some sizes that are like easily visible, and big bold text would be, I would say, much more readable than something which is written very small, in a very small way, in a manner that it is not readable or user might skip it. And some sort of translation features like multi-language plugin is a very good thing to provide a good user experience. Lastly, I would want to add that you stay in touch with us, stay in touch with your mentors, your admins. This is very important for your guidance. Always feel free to ping us on Discord, have that lovely group chat. We have a very beautiful, I would say, and growing community there on. Now, I just want to mention firstly the GSOC 2024 timeline. So as we can see on the left side, we have this May 1st to May 26th, which is the community bonding period. And on May 27th, which embarks the start of the coding period. It means that it may seem that there is a lot of time left, but in reality, the time runs actually very fast. So you might have to, I would say, just start checking on all of the user experience things right now, and then you can, I would say, very well have that understanding that you can make very beautiful projects and apps. So start preparing on your technical and UX fundamentals right now only. And when you understand the user's behavior, then only you can cater and provide better UX. Otherwise, what you might be providing would look alike that it has done good UX, but in reality, it may not have that user behavior you want. So, what is user behavior? What do I say when I say user behavior? It is basically like if I love the look and feel of the app. Let's say if I want to use an app, and I might come back again at that app because I just love the look and feels of it. It might be any app. It is so good in the experience that the user wants to just keep visiting it again and again. That is the user behavior. It is a subconscious engine that powers your actions and decision of any product or platform. It is those lightning quick thoughts that can just come into users, which can just drive them away or engage them further into any applications. You might have seen even Google, a company like Google, has some sort of user experience that are so remarkable because they have practiced these user experience tactics. There are many sort of applications that you might see to have this invasion of user experience. These sort of actions shape our goals, and when we are visiting, let's say, the site, the app, or anything, and when we focus on it, when we focus on having some sort of good user experience, this is also by Google. So they're on the Google Summer of Code 2024. You can just, I would say, make some visually appealing apps that have good user experience as well, and that might be the key that can just make you deliver something more, and I would say something different from the others, which can just make you stand out from the crowd. And this is, I would say, not only the thing of user experience is important, but what this whole page or the whole idea of this timeline suggests, that you have to build it during this uh, coding period, and during this, I would say, those working months of your first, second, and the third sessions, or I would say the coding rounds that you have. You cannot just think that you will eventually do it, and finally you are running out of time. It is your final week and you have to just submit it, and you have just forgotten a bit or two of the important or necessary features. So very stay very clear of the time, use your time very judiciously, and use that GSOC timeline that has been given to you. Make your proposal right now. There was also a meet, I would say some of you had attended, about the proposal making, which sort of told you that how you can just make your proposal, which sort of is also available on YouTube. You can just check it out later on. Next, I would want to go to something called the laws of UX. So this is a UX workshop, right? I wanted to let you know that it is very easy when you know these laws, and I would say don't try to just mug up all the names. It is more important that you know that these laws exist and the meaning of these laws, which you can apply it in your application. So the first thing is called the Zeigarnik effect, a very, I would say, frightening name, but it is a very easy law. It just says that if something looks a bit uncompleted, if something is looking like it is not fully done, then it might make the user want to achieve that sort of effect. Now, what do I mean by this? You might have seen those four-step procedures of booking any sort of hotel room. You might have seen the four-step procedure when you are ordering something on Amazon, those sort of things, which is a part of Zeigarnik effect. It tells that these are the steps that I have to complete. I'm on the first step and three steps are left. It sort of adds a gamification to your app. It sort of leads a way that you want to uh, I would say complete that task, with enhances the user experience that you want to go to the app again and again. It might be that your profile is not completed and your say social media app is popping you up that 66% of your profile is completed, and you just want to feel like you want to complete it all, so it says 100% or something like that. And I will be coming into the gardening effect later on as well. The law of proximity. Now, what do I mean by this is that the object are which that are near or proximate to each other tend to be grouped together. It means that if we want to have some sort of objects and we group them up, it is easier for the user to just click on it and know it than having some sort of integrated things. And I will be giving you examples as well, so do not worry if you do not understand any point in this, and later on we have questions as well. So proximity says you just group them together. You just group your individual objects together. So have a component in your application that is easier to understand. Hicks law is basically like we apply KISS, or KISS, which means to keep it simple. And what does it mean is, if you have to make decisions and there are so many decisions, there are so many complexity, then do not give that sort of complexity. Keep your application as simple as you can. Keep it bit simple and keep it, I would say, very crisp and clear to the user. If you won't, then it might be a problem in you also to understand when you revisit your application, say after several months or something like that. So keep it as simple as you can. That is very important. The serial position effect, and I would want to just give a, I would say that this is very important because people who make application always make something called nav bar, a bottom nav bar, to have those 4 or 5 options in the bottom side which the user clicks upon. You might have seen in apps like maybe LinkedIn, maybe Instagram, they have those sort of options, and you might have seen that the first and the last items are very important in those series. Say the first one might be home or dashboard page, and the last one might need to your profile or something like settings. And this is very important because the ones on the either sides are the ones that are more accessible to the thumb of the user, and those are the ones that the user best remembers. So those should be the most important one. This is what the law says. And the next law is the law of common region, which says that the elements which are sharing an area, let's say, they are perceived to be into groups. So if you want to show two elements, let's say two list items separately, so they should have a clear defined boundary in between them, which could be anything. It could be a very sort of, I would say, not a very clear stagnant boundary, but it could be something like sort of a different background of a different shade, something like that. And Fitts law, it says that the time to acquire the object target is a function to the distance and size of the object. Now, do not get confused. This Fitts law is very easy. What it is saying is you just have to make your the sizing of your buttons or something bigger, so it is easier for them to understand it, that what it is for. And if it is smaller, it means that it does not have that sort of significance in your application. Von Restorff effect is says that the objects, when multiple of them are present, then the one that differs from the rest is the most likely to be remembered. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that is the Von Restorff effect, as it says, when the objects are present, let's say we have some several cards and one of them is slightly differently colored to stand out from the rest. Let's say we have a pricing page, and where it's showing the pricing, we will not have the pricing page in our actual applications. This is just for an example. And let's say we have something like a free plan, a pro plan, and enterprise plan. Then you might have seen many, I would say, UX fundamentals show that the pro plan might be highlighted just for the user that he should click on this one. Just we are making him sure that let's click on this one so we can sort of have the user experience. Now I will give you an example of this. The most important object should be highlighted in your UX, and I would just give you an example of all of them with this. uh, so anything that was not clear could be easily understood with this. So the first Zeigarnik effect, as we saw, the progress bar on the top, it is very much highlighting that what is Zeigarnik effect. It is just that you are showing your displaying your progress bar to show that your task was incomplete. The next one that I told was the law of proximity. So they were grouped together and they were looking tending to be I would say slightly like they are in a same cluster. Let's say we have a settings page, there is a general section, there is a section for others, miscellaneous settings, there is a help section, something like that. And Hicks law was saying to apply a very standard procedure that we have to keep it very simple. Let's say there were so many options and we just made it into 4 options, which is very simple. Or let's say how other remote looks like and how Apple does it remote. So it makes it very simple and for easier for the user. The serial position effects, which I was told you that the first and the last items, let's say in a bottom nav bar, are very important. So they must be the ones that are very important to you. The law of common region saying that if you have this sort of a card, then the background should be separated in a color. So it shows that, yeah, this one is a, I would say this one is a component or this one is a grouped component of that particular, I would say, page. Fitts law, as it suggests that to keep your buttons bigger, that which is what I said, keep something that is very important to you and very important for the application bigger in sizes, bigger buttons, easy to read text, something like that is very important. And a fundamental for one rest of effect, let's say there are 3 sort of pricing or plannings, and we have highlighted the one that is the most distinct one that we would want. And if you would want to have this slide, you can just later ping me and I will just give the link for this, so you can just learn the from the docs, something very easy for you. Now next I would want to go to accessibility. Now what is accessibility? It is something that I have told before also in previous meets, but I would want to give a very big picture of it, that it is that estimated of 1.3 billion people or 16% of the global population is suffering through a major disability today, which could be a paralysis, say below the neck, some sort of partial or total blindness, partial or total hearing loss. And these people also need good user experiences. Let's say, for an example, an app called YouTube, which is a very, I would say, famous application built by Google and bought by Google, and it has something called captions, and those captions allow us to read in form of a subtitle on all of the videos. Now this is very important for someone who might not be getting sort of maybe having a language barrier, accent barrier, and he is getting the converted translated text in your captions. But this is also helpful for someone who cannot just hear the video, so he would be very much engaged in reading those subtitles, and that is so good for him. So it is a feature for the bigger audience where accessibility is needed, and it is just build and giving benefit to everyone, which is sort of the I would say the main goal of the accessibility, which is the whole purpose of it. So create good user experiences, perform usability testing when you are making your application, when you are in your coding period. I just want you to take this very seriously. Once a month, do some testing and debriefing and have someone test your application who is generally not good at using your application. What I mean is, have someone test your application who does not use apps much. Maybe it could be your neighbor, it could be a friend, it could be your parents, someone who can just who is not much used to using phones. and who can just test your application for the very first time, and let's see what problems he is facing. Whatever problem they are facing, they might think it is a shorthand from their end that they are not able to use your application, they have some sort of lacking in understanding. But the reality is you might have made some blunders in very good creating very good user experience, which is causing your application to not behave or work the way that they might expect it to work. And which is where you have to take some feedbacks, take some homework for you to have the testings done, and finally, based upon the testings, have your application changed and have the, I would say, pretty much have it written down in a work log. Then there is something called Google Speech, which is, I would say, everyone might be tuned into listening to something like a prompt from Google, and they might be able to get, I would say, they might be able to search anything using a simple speech message, and which is, I would say, very convincing in ways of accessibility. Good contrast, this is very important. Big heading, this is very important. Your applications, usually we build them on a 10-inch tablet, and it is very good if you have big headings and greater contrast, and maybe a reading mode, maybe a dark mode as well. These sort of things bring a very good user experience, and you can do it after your necessary features are done. Say no to small text of low contrast. This is very important, something which is not easily visible while you would want that to be on your application. And if it was for the web, then it should have some sort of keyboard navigation. We do not care about the keyboard navigation because there is no use in form of your apps. And yeah, pretty much that is all about accessibility. And to make your applications built for everyone, I would want you to just have a greater look at it, maybe search it upon, and you might go to a link called the W3C, or the World Web Consortium, which sort of states all the rules, and this is just an extract from it, for having a greater, I would say, vision for catering the needs of the users. Now, let's take example from an app that I built during when I was a contributor on Google Summer of Code, and some examples and a hint of Flutter packages used, because I wanted it to be circulated around Flutter. I wanted it to be more of a Flutter application meet than a general UX meet. So I have just made some points in something which is important for someone who is building an app in Flutter. And we can take an example of the La Palma Volt track. It has something called a feature discovery. What is a feature discovery? Basically, the first time the user launches the app, there is a tutorial. There is a 4 to 5 step tutorial that how you might be able to use the application. And the user will only see it for the very first launch. And it is very important because someone might not be able to understand your application. And on the first launch, he will get a tour of the application, which is, I would say, very good thing to have. Next is the day night theme, which is something we're talking about color and contrast, some color themes which are based on reading modes, low contrast modes, and sort of give you a better readability. I18N, which is the internationalization. It has multi-language plugin. The La Palma comes in 10 different languages, including some languages like Hindi, Chinese, Russian, and many more. And Google Maps, finally, to control the Google Earth cluster. This is a UX very specific to Liquid Galaxy. That if you want to control the Google Earth cluster, you can make some sort of touch movements on the Google Maps, and that interface of the synchronous movement between Google Earth and Google Maps in the Liquid Galaxy, the Google Earth is very convincing by making any sort of gestures on the maps of the tablet. And finally, I would go to this sort of a link. Again, if you just want this to have a look at it later on, you can just ping me. And while it is loading, I would just want to say that the first thing that you might see here is the feature discovery, which is that multiple steps, how they progress, how you see the application, the help, the about, and many of them in a way that you are able to grab that the first time you see it. Like here, you have a definition written below it, and which is telling you that, yeah, this one does this, this one does this. Yeah, I am getting a tour of the application. And there's a take app tour button. Maybe someone who missed it, he can just again have the app tour. So this will always pop up the first time the user has launched the application, and it is very convincing for the user. The next is the day night theme mode. It is also a Flutter package. The Flutter package is similar. The Flutter package is called day night theme. Here the Flutter package is called feature discovery. So I just want you to know that there are some Flutter packages. Here the Flutter packages, here it is a Cupertino action sheet, which is sort of helpful in changing your languages. So Flutter provides you with Cupertino widgets, which are like very good and iOS sort of a touch to your applications. And the alert pop-ups, there are something called alert dialog, which sort of gives you that, yeah, do not just shut down the LG directly, have a pop-up, do you want to do this action, because it is UX now. You do not want to I would say dismiss or shut down your Liquid Galaxy or sort of make those commands in the very first go. You want your alert sort of pop-ups, different sort of pop-ups, maybe a warning pop-up, maybe a success pop-up, maybe a failure pop-up. These sort of things add to the user experience and usability. The next thing is a percentage indicator. Maybe give your user an experience where he is downloading the data and what percentage of the data is still left to be downloaded. Maybe the person will click on this visualize in LG, and he will be getting this sort of a graph that he is able to download 50% of the data, 10% of the data, something like that. And the loader will increase, and then he will be able to visualize the KML. The next one, I think it did not load. It is just the Google Maps telling you that there can be a Google Maps in your application. And more or less, these were all. And I just wanted to highlight the main ones, which already I have told. And now I would want to go to, yeah, I just want to tell that use these sort of important plugins, and always remember that these might be the second or the third priority that you might be getting on your application, because the first will be always to complete the necessary tasks that you have at hand. And yeah, if you just love the tour of the La Palma World Track, feel free to leave a star on it. It is just one of the projects that I have, I would say, succeeded to make in a very good user experience. And you might be taking a lot of hint through it. I would say go to the La Palma volcano tracking tool. If you do not find the link or the GitHub, I will just send you there. And you might be loving all the, I would say, ideas, and the packages or JSON will provide you with all of the packages that I have used, and you can just take example of it. The last thing is, it is very important that we launch the app to Google Play Store. Every year we do this, and this is very important that we do it on time. So publishing your UX rich app, now your app, I hope that after this sort of a small brief or the small tour of the user experience, you can make a very good UX application. And I don't hope, I know that you will be able to just go through all of these, I would say, pages and the brief that I have told you. And I believe that it will be sent to Google Play for usefulness and recognition, which is what sort of every application does for a successful GSOC. And we should later stress that we should be having something that is approved by Google. For this, you need to sort of cater all the things that are needed for making a successful build version to Play Store, where you have to worry about the key.jks sort of files and configs, and you have to make a build, not the make a build version of the AAB and APKs, and you have to just send it with clearing that it has the minimum SDK or the minimum target version that is very much needed to sort of fulfill the requirements given by Play Store and things like that. So you must pass all the necessary requirements, that is first, and you have to have a digital signature of the release version, that is also very important. And finally, where your app goes to the final submission date of the GSOC timeline, and you have to do it before only. And I would say this was I would say a very good tour of the user experience, and also how you can make something very important by just practicing all the fundamentals of UX, and make an application that has all of the beautiful detailing that you might want to add later on. With which I have come to an end of this beautiful, I would say, workshop. Just wanted to hand it over to Andrew, sir. Thank you so much for having me here.
Very good. Thank you, Yash. Thank you for your presentation. And let's go to our lovely Discord to see if we have any questions for you. Do you have questions? Go here. This is your question. This is your point. So let's wait for people if they want to tell us something. Please remember that we don't have a delay sometimes it's large.
Yeah.
Stop sharing your screen, please.
All right.
In the meantime, I'm gonna put another slide. Amit is starting questions. I'm gonna show a reminder of the next community meeting we are gonna have next 24th December, 12 p.m. noon in the Liquidology community. So this is a very important meet because those days are plenty of people contacting us from many countries in the world, and we are arranging a presentation where we will try to explain all the different questions you have, and we understand this is very important for you to attend. And please go to our website and RSVP your seat. And the most important is that you have to send us a proof of reservation, because this is going to be a meet. It will not be live stream. So if you want to make questions to us, you have to be meet. At this moment, I think there are something like 30 persons in the meet. But we have many more contributors that maybe they are not be able to do this on the 24th, or maybe they don't want. But the point is that if you want to come, you have to reserve your seat and tell us by Discord, and we will invite to the meet. The persons that are not on the meet will not be able to do questions because this is going to be a closed session. But later we will post this session on our website. By the way, let me say thanks to Yash, because just today we have the finally menu again on our GSOC post, and we're gonna improve it and put a larger menu so you don't have to browse the never-ending scrolling on this page to reach the point you want. So thank you, Yash, for your help. And let's go to the questions. Tarun, what do you say about Mockito package for testing?
Yeah, so I just wanted to answer him that this is a very good package for doing some sort of unit testings and getting some snapshot testings. I would say you can. And first of all, just make sure that you also do manual testings. Those are very important. I believe that people sort of, when they think about testings, they think about testings in some sort of writing some sort of code of lines and just seeing that if they're getting the right results. And I would say that is also something that you can do, but do not forget on the manual testing that tell about the look and feel of the application, which is much more of the user experience that I want to provide. So that part is called user testing. The part that I want to concentrate is user experience, and just remember that.
Okay, so Amit is asking, it is very hard to decide about thinking of good UI. Can you suggest some tips?
So I just wanted to say that if you are looking to have some good UI, all of the laws of UX that I have told, just take a look at them. Those are every fundamental thing that you might want to decide on. And then finally, you can jump to Figma as well. You can sort of know what you want to build before actually coding it. Some sort of, if you want to make a good UI, first maybe start a some sort of a design, then you can just jump on to code. It is pretty much everything is your choice.
Oh, Figma, that company that Adobe has not bought. Adobe. Okay, just trying to make some funny comments while the contributors ask questions. Also, I'm trying to change my OBS, and we will wait for a few seconds for new questions.
Okay, so a new question has popped up. Tarun says that, how do you make a good responsive app? Can you suggest some things to be in mind while building an application? So let's say you are building a Flutter application, because we just focus on Flutter first. And you have to make good responsiveness. Let's say most of the application that we build are targeted on a 10-inch Android tablet. So there is not much to responsiveness that we have to take as a major. But if you want to make your apps very responsive, then make sure that on all the screen sizes they have been set with percentages or viewport height and width rather than hard coded pixelated sort of things, which is something that you want to when we are talking about responsiveness. Now I would want to talk about, there is a very good, I would say, clever interview sort of a question that comes up, that what is the difference between responsive, adaptive, and adaptive? So, what is responsive? Responsive is basically you are resizing your application in various phones. You are watching it in a smaller phone, bigger phone, and it is able to fluidly customize itself to the boundaries of the phone. It is able to resize itself very well, and it has no problem. It is responsive to those screens. Now, what is adaptive? Adaptive is where the user just sees the width and height of the various phones, and he is just making the application to be enabled in two or three standard sizes. He is not worrying about the in between sizes. The app is not very fluid. It is just adaptive to those two or three screens, which you do not want to do, which is very well you have written responsive. The final thing is adaptive, where you cannot just go for a responsive solution. So what you do is you make a compromise between responsive and adaptive, where you fix it depending on maybe two or three screen sizes, but also it is responsive within those boundaries of two or three screen sizes. And where the most important part is you are making it based on the viewports and percentages rather than hard coded pixelated sizes.
Let me
So
answer.
yeah,
Let me answer the next one.
yeah.
Sachin is asking for the autumn task. Given we should give you more focus on UI or both UI as well as functionality. So, Sachin, I will say both and I will say none. Let me explain. So, you all contributors have not too much time now, something like 2-3 weeks to develop the so-called KEYS application. Remember, KEYS stands for Keep It Simple, Stupid. This is something that technologists have been used forever, and on the website you have the link to the Wikipedia page for you to believe in us. So at this point, we are not seeing too much on the UI and the UX, because what we want to see is the functionalities, of course. But if this is a contest, so if you want to win, as you do better, you will have more opportunities to win. So if you do a very nice UI, UX, user experience, and also, of course, it has the functionalities the application has to have, it will be better. But for us, this time is more for the functionalities, because we are testing our contributors on their abilities, and we have to. First thing is functionalities, I would say. But of course, everything you present has to try to have as Yash has explained, both UI and UX experiences. But if you don't have time, it's going to happen this, because on the January 15th, we close for the Flutter thing for laser slides conversion and so on. So you don't have too much time. So you have to hurry up. So I will say functionalities and UI and UX later. For this moment, in a regular project, all the three things have to be on place. Do you agree, Yash?
Yes, I very well agree with that.
Okay. So let's wait for a few seconds till Google, YouTube servers ingest our image and send back to the world. And we will wait for another question. And then we'll stop. Again, let me remember to the people that we are going to have this third community meeting, and in our webpage you have the URL to reserve your seat, and please send a screenshot for us to know with your email to be invited on the meet. I think this is one of the most important meets before the real GSOC thing starts, and when January comes, the thing starts to accelerate. So I think it's the best moment for all the newcomers start to pour the questions. We will be answering a lot of things that we think you need, but is the best place for you to make questions to us. So thank you. Oh, thank you, Sachin. Let's wait for Soham question. Also, I think there is another contributor writing something. One important thing is that the next meet will have not this problem, because we are gonna do in real time the questions and answers. So when we were streaming, it's normal that we have this delay from YouTube servers. That's normal. But on the December 24 session will be a meet, and questions and answers will be live. So for the reason we have also chosen meet, because we can read your question and make your answer. Soham, how to make apps accessible for users with disabilities using Flutter?
Yeah, so I just wanted to answer that. First of all, with accessibility, it is generally what we understand that it is for the people which are having some disability, but it is not just any sort of like, we do not have to go to the extreme sides of disability. It could be that the person has, let's say, sort of a blindness in partial blindness, or sort of a color blindness in some sort of spectrums of red, blue, or green. So you have to make those distinctive colors. There is something called color.adobe.com, where there is something called a blindness color wheel. You can just look it up right now. A blindness color wheel is where you can just see if your color palettes of your application have some sort of swatches that have different colors, which is easier for someone with sort of even disabilities to be able to understand that, yeah, these are different colors. We do not have the red and green problem where we are not able to understand what this no means, what this yes means. And you should have some sort of big headings with easier to read things. There is something called a screen reader that is used by people who are having disabilities, where they cannot sort of see, and they can only depend on hearing. And you do not have to worry about those assistive technologies. As long as you have a very good semantic and markup, you can just make sure that those are already enabled for pretty much everyone who is sort of having these disabilities. Later on, as I told, there is something called the World Web Consortium, W3C. You can just look it up, how those assistive technologies work and how you can make your application much better with it. And many Flutter packages are already doing it very well. So you have to just, I would say, Google around.
So on next Saturday, not Sunday, it's Saturday 23, we have a session in the afternoon with mentor Prayak, that we're going to review the guys that are doing the laser slides conversion to Flutter, because there are some of them that are starting to send some screenshots or real applications, but they are not following our rule that we want a new kind of interaction. And we already have the Java application running. I'm explaining this just to make time for another question. We already have the Java application running, and it was okay. I mean, the functionalities is good, but we wanted a new Flutter converted version, but plenty of new, I would say, animations, color changes, design, UX, usability and UX. Or the application we have now works. It's not bad, because we need it simple, but we are looking for something different. And most of the people are taking the same experience we have on the Java and converting it to Flutter and just applying exactly the same UX. And this is not good. So we are going to have a session on this Saturday to review these designs. So I think there is no more questions. So we are going to end this. Thank you, Amit, for your thanks. Again, as always, Mentor Yash, thank you for your time, for sharing your knowledge with the contributors, and also for the help on the website. And again, remember that next Saturday next Sunday 24 we have this third community meeting that will be very important questions to talk about. So thank you very much, Josh, and stay tuned. Bye bye.
Thank you everyone for joining.